About 7 years ago, I did not like my life. I was lost, I was frustrated, and I remember wailing, not even crying, wailing. Wailing is you literally just crying your heart out. You're crying like a baby. You're not quietly just wiping your tears, you're just out loud crying. And I had lost a lot of weight. My skin had become so dark. I had a lot of acne. And I remember just sitting and wondering what happened to me. What happened to me? What happened to my life? I was going through a breakup, so I was heartbroken at the moment. I was not eating. I was just a wreck, a total wreck. And in that moment, during that phase, is when I realized I was actually the problem. That the way my life was turning out was as a result of the things I was doing in my own life. Like I looked at the role I was playing in my life at the moment. My behavior, how I was behaving, even towards myself, how I was neglecting myself and my needs, how I was going for opportunities that were oppressing me, even relationships that were mean and abusive, how I was even showing up as a friend, as a sister, the things I was surrounding myself with, the things I was reading, the things I was watching. And I remember getting so, like really taking a book, getting so detailed about what was happening, even taking a book and writing down, what do I want from my life? Why is my life like this? And the moment I took accountability of the role I was playing, of how my life was turning out, my life began. Like I began a new life. I began a different chapter about my life. You know, change is hard. And for a lot of people, we just look at how our journey is turning out, but we don't look at the role we're playing in that journey for it to turn out like that. And so sometimes, a lot of times, it's easy to see everyone around us except ourselves. It's easy to see that he didn't call, she didn't do this, they fired me. It's easy to look at everybody else, but forget that it's your life that's a wreck. Like for me, it was my life that was miserable. I had to look at, I said this, in every one of us we have our world. Like I live in my own Muthoni's world. Like I look at people like there's a round sphere around me, my world, and then there's another sphere around you, your world. There's another sphere around someone else, that's their world. So if your world is messy, you don't like it, you're crying, you're sad, you're frustrated, things are falling apart, sweetheart, there's a role you're playing. There's something you're doing for your world to turn out like that. And when I say there's a role you're playing, it could be you're not doing anything about the things that are coming to you. You're just taking everything, and probably need to start having boundaries. So for me, I had to look at my role that I played in my life becoming that messy, and I had to call myself out. I had to tell myself, Muthoni is not those people. He was narcissistic, he was abusive, or they're like this where you work and all that, but it's not them. It's the things you're accepting, the things you're not changing. Change is hard, change is difficult, but you have to know, by the time you're changing things, you have to know the role you've played and the power you have to change that situation. The same way you messed it, the same way it became messy. You messed it with your own hands. You dropped everything. You broke everything. It's the same way you can build everything. When you own that power, the power to change things, that is when you stop blaming people to give you things you can give yourself. That's when you stop pleading, you stop begging, you stop crying for things you can give yourself. Things like happiness, things like fulfillment, things like being content, things like liking yourself. That has nothing to do with even how people are treating you. That has everything to do with what you're accepting, how you're treating yourself, the things you're choosing even in your life. So I just want to throw this challenge over to you. The moment I realized, I looked at the role I had played in my own messed up life, that's the day I started healing. That's the day I chose different. And that's the day I started my healing journey that led me to even become a coach today. And we were having a discussion with one of my favorite clients. Even coaches, we have favorites. and we've gone on a journey with her for a whole 6 months, helping her work on her personal development. And she was telling me, Muthoni, I don't know this woman, but I like her. And that was me. The moment when I started working on myself, it got to a point where I really liked myself. And I remember thinking, and even the other day I was here in my office and I just wanted to pinch myself and go like, I like this woman. Like, I love her. Like, I'm proud of her. Like, I respect her. Like, she's gone for her dreams. She loves herself. She takes accountability. She constantly works on herself. Yeah? So I just want to remind you that at some point, when your life is chaotic, it's falling apart, what role are you playing in your own journey? Is it the things you're accepting? Is it the things you're saying yes to? Is it your behavior? Is it your people-pleasingness? Is it your obsession to be liked? Is it your childhood trauma? What role are you playing in how your relationship with yourself, in how your life is turning out? And if you've gotten to a point where, like me, I've written this in my book. People who've read my book have seen my story. By the way, my book is now, there's an ebook on Amazon. So people from the diaspora people, before I ship my book to Amazon, you can get an ebook on Amazon. I'll put the link here, somewhere down below. Now, when I was sad, when I was crying, when I could not recognize who I was, that 7-8 years ago, the moment I realized the role I had played, the moment I realized the things I had accepted, that's the day my life began. That's where the day I realized, the same way I have broke my life, the same way I have torn down, my life, is the same way, the same way I had teared down my life is the same way I can build it up. The same way I was accepting people to come to my life, I could also do things to stop that. I could put boundaries. I could like me. I could even start dating better, because I actually came to that realization after going through a breakup. And at that moment when I was crying and wailing was when I was crying through it. And just start from where you are, from what you can do. And even from my journey, that's where I decided I want to do this for other women who are going through the same things I was going through. When I was going through my healing journey, I could not find a lot of people who I could really relate with to have gone through the same things I went through, especially here in my country or in Africa. And I decided to be that for another woman. So if you're going through you're going through a transition you don't like, you feel lost, you don't like your life, you're just sad, frustrated, things are falling apart for you, then I'm the person for you. Right? So you can always reach out to me. I can hold your hand, even through personalized session. And right now I actually have boot camps. We have 2 boot camps for September. We have for dating and relationships. I'll put a poster here, and that is on 3rd September. They go for 5 days. And I have another one on femininity from 9th September for a whole 5 days. They are virtual, whether you're employed, whether you are doing 9 to 5, whether you reside in the North Pole, you don't get to miss out on anything, because the teachings are in the forums 24/7 during the whole 5 days. So you won't miss out. It's not like we're doing this exact hour. The teachings are there the whole time. And I am there in the forum. I get to answer your questions live. I get to interact with you and hold your hand through your healing. So this video was just to remind you to look at the role you've played for your life to be messed up. Like, there is a role you play. Maybe accepting too much, choosing wrongly, setting boundaries, and especially if it's in terms of relationships. We have a lot of power, but we don't realize it, especially as women. That's why you need to come to my bootcamp. You can start by coming to my bootcamp. And I also have one-on-one sessions and packages. Anyway, bye.